Hi guys, and welcome to today's lesson with focus on coordinates. When we speak about coordinates in maths, we must include and work with graphs. In this graph, you can see some numbers and something called x and y axis. To understand this topic, focusing on coordinates, we will focus on 4 things and tick them off one by one. Firstly, what are coordinates? Secondly, what is x-axis and y-axis? And then the origin. What is the origin? And finally, the quadrant. What a quadrant is. Now, briefly, what are coordinates? It's about giving the position of a point on a graph or grid. What is x-axis and y-axis? Coordinates are measured from these. The x-axis is measured horizontally and the y-axis vertically. The origin. It's the point where the x-axis and y-axis cross, while both having the coordinates 0. The quadrant. A graph quadrant is one of 4 sections where the x-axis and y-axis cross and meet. Okay, let's start by further looking into coordinates. We already explained its definition or briefly mentioned it. It's about giving the position of a point on a graph or grid, we said. But what does that really mean? To start with, let's take in a graph. The graph has something called an x-axis, which has, in this case, the values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, horizontally. And it has also something called a y-axis, which also has the values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, vertically. Now, let's look at the position of a point with the coordinate 3, 3 in a bracket. And where exactly is that? This is when the x-axis is equal to 3 and the y-axis also equal to 3. It's right here. 1, 2, 3 horizontally found on the x-axis, and 1, 2, and 3 vertically on the y-axis, right there where we have the orange circle or dot or point. Now the x-coordinate in the bracket is always the first number, just as the arrow shows. It says the x-coordinate is always the first number and the y-coordinate is the second. Now let's look further into the x and y axis to really try to understand this. We have now explained and elaborated on our topic, coordinates, and the 4 things we needed to know connected to it. I am confident that we'll be ready to work on some examples, plotting and finding some given points of coordinates. But before we do that though, let's practice and learn how to draw our own coordinate graph. We'll start by making sure we have a grid paper, and in my case, a grid background template. Let's draw an x-axis and a y-axis and label both axes so that x is equal to -4 or larger than that, which means less negative than -4, and that x equals 4 or less than 4. And the same with y, that y equals -4 or it is equal to -4 or larger than -4, again, which means less negative than -4. And finally, that y equals 4 and it's less than 4. This means that horizontally on the right side, the x-axis has positive values 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on the left side, the x-axis has the negative values -1, -2, -3, and -4. And in regards to the y-axis, we have first the values that are presented upwards. There we know the values, they have to be positive. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 vertically upwards. And downwards vertically, the y-axis has the negative values -1, -2, -3, and -4. Let's now also label the origin and then each quadrant. The origin is normally necessary to label, but with the quadrants, it's enough to just know the position or place of each one of them. There we go. Now we have our graph. Let's use it now and work on some examples, plotting and finding some given points of coordinates. Okay, some final knowledge that I need to teach you before we wrap it up and end this lesson is that the point where lines meet is called the vertices. Yeah, they are called the vertices. That is the plural of it. Now, the singular is vertex. So, just as you saw, the arrows, they had a meeting point. Yeah, we could see the lines from the arrows meeting. Where they meet, that is the coordinate that we have to find, as we did before. And the name of where the lines meet, as the arrows showed, it is called vertices in plural, and singular vertex. Yeah, it's right there. Okay guys, that's it. Now you have all the basic theoretical knowledge you need for you to be able to start working with coordinates in graphs. You are simply ready to start practicing and finding coordinates on your own. Now, check out our practice lesson on coordinates, and once completed, then you're fully equipped and good to go. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. And as always, to have access to the full lessons and videos, make sure to get your membership on www.crown-elc-online.com. See you again soon, and stay cool.